The for sale sign had barely been in the yard a week before I made my move. The little brick house sat right at the edge of a manicured cul-de-sac, separated from the rest of Willow Creek Estates by a narrow strip of county road. Unlike the rest of the neighborhood, it wasn't tied to the HOA. That was the detail that sealed the deal for me. I'd grown up in neighborhoods like Willow Creek, where board members strutted around with clipboards, measuring grass and scolding children for leaving bikes in driveways. I swore that one day, if I ever had the chance, I'd plant myself right in their midst, but free from their rules. When I saw this property listed, I knew it was fate. The house itself wasn't much. 3 bedrooms, faded shutters, a lawn that needed some love, but had a strong foundation and sat on just enough land to stretch out. I liked the idea of being close to town, but not under anyone's thumb. And more than that, I liked the idea of proving that an HOA's power stopped exactly where its boundaries ended. The day I moved in, I was unloading boxes from the U-Haul when I heard the first sharp clack of heels on pavement. "Excuse me." I turned to see her, platinum blonde hair, oversized sunglasses, floral blouse tucked too tight into white pants. She had that stiff smile that never reached her eyes. Even before she opened her mouth again, I knew who she was. Every HOA had one. "I'm Karen, president of the Willow Creek HOA," she announced, as if she were the mayor of the whole town. "And I need to inform you right away that this neighborhood has very strict guidelines. Paint colors, fencing, landscaping, everything must be approved by our board." I wiped the sweat off my brow and leaned against a box. "Good to meet you, Karen. But this house isn't part of Willow Creek. It's county property. No, HOA." Her smile twitched. "That's impossible. This street is Willow Creek. Every home here is subject to our rules." "Not this one," I said. "Check your plat maps. This lot was never annexed." The twitch became a scowl. "Well, it should be. If you live here, you'll need to abide by our standards. That's what keeps property values high." I folded my arms. "With respect, I'll keep my house how I like. That's what keeps me sane." She stood frozen for a moment, lips parted as if I'd just spoken blasphemy. Then she spun on her heel and stormed away, muttering into her phone before she even reached the end of the drive. I'd been in the neighborhood less than 2 hours, and already I had an enemy. Over the next week, Karen made it her mission to remind me that I didn't belong. It started with leaflets. Every morning, I found folded papers shoved into my mailbox, printed with Willow Creek's rules and regulations. No basketball hoops visible from the street. No work vehicles in driveways. No sheds without board approval. Each one highlighted in neon yellow, as if I might suddenly realize I'd made a mistake. Then came the visits. One afternoon, I was planting rose bushes along the fence when Karen and 2 other board members marched up. "Those shrubs are not approved," she declared. I pulled off my gloves. "Good thing you don't get a vote here. You think you're clever, don't you?" she snapped. "But everyone else on this street plays by the rules. You'll drag down the whole neighborhood with your chaos." The man beside her cleared his throat. "It might be easier for everyone if you just joined the HOA voluntarily." I laughed. "Pay dues to people who already hate me? Not a chance." Karen's face went red. She jabbed a manicured finger toward me. "Mark my words, you won't last here." The hostility grew. At night, I caught board members loitering on the curb, pointing at my house with flashlights. One morning, I woke to find "Join or Leave" scrawled in chalk across my driveway. My trash cans were dragged to the middle of the street. Someone even dumped lawn clippings on my porch. I refused to give her the satisfaction of reacting. Instead, I leaned into my independence. I painted my shutters forest green, built a fire pit in the yard, and parked my old pickup right in the driveway with pride. Every choice was a reminder that freedom existed right next door to Karen's little kingdom. Then came the breaking point. It was a Saturday morning. I was tinkering with my grill, planning a backyard barbecue, when Karen marched across the street screaming. "You can't live here!" she shrieked, her voice cracking. "This neighborhood is not for people like you. You don't follow rules. You don't respect order. You don't belong." The whole cul-de-sac froze. Curtains twitched. Neighbors peeked out their doors. I set down my tongs and walked to the edge of my lawn. "Karen, you don't get to decide where I belong. This is my home. I bought it fair and square, and no amount of screaming is going to change that." Her hand shook as she jabbed toward me. We'll see about that. I'll get the county, the board, someone to kick you out. I smiled calmly. Good luck. The county clerk already confirmed everything. You've got no jurisdiction here. She screamed, a raw, animal sound, before storming back to her house. The neighbors whispered for weeks about that outburst. Some started avoiding her altogether. A few even stopped by my place, offering beers or baked goods as if to quietly signal where their loyalties lay. But Karen wasn't finished. 2 months later, I received a letter in the mail with the HOA's letterhead. It accused me of violating community standards and threatened fines of $200 a day until I complied. I drove straight to the county courthouse, letter in hand. The clerk barely suppressed a laugh. They can't fine you for anything. Your lot isn't deed restricted. If they keep harassing you, you can sue. That gave me an idea. I drafted a letter of my own, official, professional, on crisp white paper. It cited property law, boundary maps, and harassment statutes. At the bottom, in bold print, it read, any further attempts to impose HOA restrictions on this property will result in immediate legal action. I hand-delivered it to Karen's mailbox. That evening, I watched from my porch as she read it. Her face turned pale, then purple. She crumpled the paper in her fist, shaking with fury, before slamming her door so hard the windows rattled. From that day forward, the leaflets stopped. The board members quit their sidewalk patrols. The chalk messages vanished. Life slowly returned to normal. I mowed my lawn when I wanted, planted tomatoes in a backyard, and built a shed without filling out a single form. Neighbors dropped by for barbecues, grateful for a break from Karen's rulebook. Even some HOA members confessed that they admire my stand. One summer night, Tom from down the street joined me by the fire pit. We watched fireflies flicker in the dark. You know, he said, I think you broke her. Karen doesn't yell at us nearly as much these days. Maybe she finally realized she's not queen of the world. I poked the fire with a stick. She still glares every time she drives past. Tom chuckled. Yeah, but she knows she lost. You're the one house she'll never control. I leaned back, listening to the crickets. That's the thing about bullies. They think rules make them powerful. But the real power is knowing where their rules end. Across the street, Karen's blinds quivered as she peeked out. Our eyes met for half a second before she yanked them shut. I smiled. I wasn't just surviving here. I was thriving, right next door to the one place she thought she ruled. And that, more than anything, was the sweetest victory.